The courthouse was unusually packed that morning, with whispers and glances exchanging across the room. At the center of it all was Maya Roberts, a 34-year-old single mother who stood at the defendant's table, facing what felt like insurmountable odds. Maya, a hardworking nurse and mother of two, had been accused of embezzling funds from her employer, a charge that, if proven, could lead to years in prison. The case was unusual, not because of the charges themselves, but because Maya had adamantly refused to take a plea deal that would avoid jail time but tarnish her reputation. Maya had maintained her innocence from the start. The alleged missing money, nearly $15,000, had been traced to an account with her name on it, but Maya insisted she had no knowledge of it. Despite the evidence, she knew that accepting guilt would devastate her family and career. However, her refusal to plead guilty meant risking a harsher punishment. The prosecutor, David Klein, was known for his aggressive tactics and impeccable record. He had painted Maya as a desperate woman who had stolen to provide for her children. "Ladies and gentlemen," he addressed the jury during his opening statement, "this is a case of trust betrayed. Ms. Roberts stole money entrusted to her care and tried to cover it up. It's a story as old as time, greed masquerading as necessity." Maya sat silently, clutching her hands to stop them from shaking. Her attorney, Sandra Blake, had prepared her for the worst. The evidence was damning, including digital trails pointing to her login credentials being used to transfer the funds. But Sandra had one crucial advantage: Maya's unshakable character. As the trial unfolded, witnesses from Maya's workplace testified. Some supported her, calling her a dedicated and honest employee, while others hinted at tensions that made her a target for suspicion. Still, the prosecution's case seemed airtight, with evidence that linked Maya to the missing money. By the time Maya was called to testify, the weight of the accusations was almost unbearable. Her two children, Lila, age 10, and Ethan, age 7, sat in the back of the courtroom with Maya's mother. Their innocent faces were a stark reminder of what was at stake. When Maya took the stand, the courtroom fell silent. Her lawyer began gently. "Maya," Sandra said, "why didn't you take the plea deal offered by the prosecution?" Maya took a deep breath. "Because I didn't do it," she said firmly. "I won't admit to something I didn't do, no matter how scared I am. My children need to know the truth, and I want them to see that their mother fought for what's right." Her voice cracked slightly, but she pressed on. "I know what people think, that I'm just another struggling single mom who made a bad decision. But I've worked hard my whole life to give my kids an honest upbringing. Stealing isn't in my nature." Sandra nodded and shifted her focus. "Maya, can you explain your financial situation at the time of the alleged theft?" "Yes," Maya replied. "I was struggling, but not to the point of stealing. I worked double shifts at the hospital and picked up weekend hours. It wasn't easy, but we were managing. I also started a small savings account for my kids' future. That's the account the prosecution is talking about, the one with my name on it. But I didn't know anything about the stolen money being deposited there until I was arrested." The prosecutor jumped to his feet for cross-examination. "Ms. Roberts," Klein began with a sharp tone, "you expect us to believe that nearly $15,000 appeared in your account without your knowledge?" "Yes," Maya replied, meeting his gaze. "And you didn't notice this mysterious deposit when checking your statements?" "I barely had time to check my statements. I relied on direct deposits and automatic payments for bills. If I had seen that money, I would have reported it." Klein scoffed. "Convenient, isn't it? A hardworking single mom with no time for her finances suddenly finds herself with a windfall, and we're supposed to believe it was all a coincidence?" Maya's lips tightened, but she held her ground. "I'm not asking you to believe in coincidences. I'm asking you to believe the truth." The tension in the room was palpable as the trial moved into its final phase. Sandra had uncovered a potential lead that could change everything. Through an IT specialist, they discovered irregularities in the hospital's computer system, suggesting that someone might have framed Maya by using her login credentials. The next day, Sandra presented the findings to the court. The expert explained how someone with administrative access could easily use another employee's credentials to authorize transactions. He also highlighted that the hospital's IT logs showed suspicious activity from another user around the time of the theft. The prosecutor objected, claiming the evidence was circumstantial. However, the judge allowed the testimony to proceed. The turning point came when Sandra called a surprise witness, Michael Carson, Maya's former supervisor. Under questioning, Carson admitted that he had access to the financial systems and that he had been under investigation for discrepancies in other accounts before leaving the hospital. His evasive answers and unwillingness to provide a clear alibi raised doubts among the jury. Finally, it was time for closing arguments. Sandra's voice was steady but impassioned. This case is about more than money. It's about justice. Maya Roberts has spent her life working to support her family and serve her community. The evidence shows that she was set up by someone who saw her as an easy target. But Maya refused to give up, even when the odds were against her. That's not the behavior of a guilty person. It's the behavior of someone who believes in the truth. When the jury returned after deliberations, Maya held her breath. The verdict: not guilty. Tears streamed down her face as her children ran into her arms. Even Judge Emily Harrington, known for her stoic demeanor, seemed moved. "Ms. Roberts," she said, "your courage and integrity throughout this trial have been remarkable. I hope this case serves as a reminder that justice is not just about punishment. It's about finding the truth." In the weeks that followed, Maya's name was cleared, and she returned to her job at the hospital. The IT investigation led to further scrutiny of Michael Carson, who was eventually charged with embezzlement. Maya's story became a symbol of resilience and the power of standing up for what's right. Though the experience had been harrowing, it also strengthened her bond with her children, who now saw their mother as a true example of bravery and integrity. In the end, Maya's brave stand in court not only changed her own life, but also inspired others to believe in the pursuit of justice, no matter how difficult the journey might seem. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, subscribe, and share.